Greetings, fellow cinephiles. Recently, I've been thinking about the Disney Animation Studios tournament I did a while back, thinking about the scores I recorded for that video, these five scores here, uh, from various movie review websites. I was curious how they would rank if I averaged them and basically ranked them, see how they stood up against each other. So that's what I'm going to do today. I should state these scores are a bit old. Uh, they're not completely up to date, but I don't think it will hinder this list too much. I did look up the scores on a few films and they were the same, but I figure there might be a few that have a point or two that are different on some of these. Heyo, Editor Cameron here. Just wanted to run through a few things I didn't mention in the video. First is the averages here. I'm going to be using those in a future video where some family members and I go through another Disney Animation Studios tournament. We each vote on which film we want to progress in that match. Uh, Film with the most votes goes forward. You get the picture. In case of a tiebreaker, we do use the average score that I accumulated here. I also wanted to touch on why there hadn't been a video uploaded in a few weeks. I had recorded two videos. One, the audio was not recording for, and the other I didn't like, so I just scrapped it. So hopefully that gives you some indication on why there hasn't been a video the last few weeks. And lastly, in this video, I didn't mention I simplify the scores for IMDb and Letterboxd so they are out of 100 to make the averaging process easier. I think that's everything I wanted to say, so back to the video. But with that being said, I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to take the average, sort it, and it should be in a descending order here. So we're going to see which film is last, and I am disappointed it is not Chicken Little. It's Home on the Range with a 48 average out of these five scores. And yeah, Home on the Range, not a great film. I, I'm actually surprised the audience scores aren't higher because I feel like there's strong nostalgia push for Home on the Range. Maybe not extensive, but I feel like there's people my age who do like Home on the Range, and I hear it more than Chicken Little, I would say. People like Home on the Range, but maybe I'm trying to justify to myself why Chicken Little isn't at this bottom spot here. All right, so that's Home on the Range. Next up, there it is. Chicken Little, only a point. Oh, um, mm, I mean, either of these two films, I'm not surprised these two films are at the bottom. If it were, I would have expected it to be switched, but this makes sense. This is okay, so average Home on the Range higher than Chicken Little. Chicken Little higher on the audience. I do see people like Chicken Little. People I know like Chicken Little. It's not for me. No hate if you like either of these films. There are worse films than these two films, but they are bottom of the barrel in terms of Disney Animation Studios. All right, so this is where I'm going to try from this point on to uh, guess. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard. These two would have been easy, so I decided not to do these two. I would have got it wrong anyway. I would have guessed Chicken Little than Home on the Range. So, well, once I saw Home on the Range, I would have guessed Chicken Little. But next up, I'm thinking. I know Brother Bear's pretty low. I don't think it's next, is it? Uh, I'm having trouble thinking of other films, like maybe Fun and Fancy Free, one of those wartime era. I'm gonna just hedge my besses. I'm gonna guess Brother Bear. Make my music. Okay, yeah, it was the wartime era. Uh, quite of a quite a jump here. Maybe I'll have to see what the average jump is between films, but this looks like quite a jump. Let's make my musics here. I'm gonna go with Melody Time is next. Wish. I forgot about Wish. Yeah, Wish. A fair assessment there. 55. I wonder what was it like. We're getting there where I'm gonna have to guess Brother Bear soon, I feel. But I still think Melody Time is next. Black Cauldron. Did not expect Black Cauldron to be so like I knew Black Cauldron was low, but didn't expect it to be this low. And now that I'm thinking about it, Brother Bear might have some good audience scores that will keep it from here. So this is the bottom five. Uh, so their placement is basically this minus one. So Home on the Range would be 64th, Chicken Little 63rd, just to keep that keep that in mind. I'm gonna stick to my guns and guess Melody Time again. Dinosaur. Yeah, Dinosaur. I was actually when I was thinking about doing this, I thought Dinosaur would be third. I just forgot to guess it. Man, I'm doing terrible on the guesses. Interesting. I'm looking at the Make My Music has the highest critic score in this bottom five, but it has the second to lowest audience scores. Yeah, this will be interesting to see. All right. I think I just gotta keep guessing Melody Time. Brother Bear. There's Brother Bear. Yeah. Yeah, definitely higher on the audience scores and then lower on the critic score. The lowest critic score tied with Chicken Little on the low critic scores. So yeah, that means averaged out the same. That makes sense. But yeah, definitely the highest of the audience scores. All right, this has to be Melody Time, right? Am I missing a wartime era movie that's gonna be lower? Maybe Saludos Amigos, but I still think Melody Time. Oh, I even said it. Saludos amigos. The same as Brother Bear. Okay, hopefully we got this all figured out. I'm relying on some Google Sheets math to do all this. Uh, did check some numbers. They seem to be going smooth. All right, we've got this all figured out, it seems. All right. Now, Saludos Amigos having the highest critic score is crazy, and the second lowest audience score in these bottom, what is it? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. This bottom eight here. Hmm. Okay. All right. Am I crazy in thinking Melody Time is as low as I think it is? I keep guessing it and it's not showing up. I gotta guess it again. Melody Time. Atlantis? Kind of surprising. Thought it would be more in the middle section. Uh, barely over Saludos Amigos. Man, low critic score. That's the lowest. Oh, wait. Yeah. What? Oh, no. There's Chicken Little. Okay. I'm blind. Oh, wait. Brother Bear also. Okay. That's right. That's right. But still phenomenally low and not as high of an audience score as I would have thought. It's the Rotten Tomato audience that really is dragging it down here. Yeah, 6.9 here. And what would this be? A 3.7? Yeah, 3.7. So not terrible. It's that 55 that's dragging it down. And that critic score is crazy. All right, Melody Time. Oliver and Company. Okay, now I'm just thinking Melody Time. I'm just thinking Melody Time probably has some good critic scores. but I can't imagine it's got fantastic audience scores. Okay, but we're getting into movies I was for sure thinking would be more in the middle of this list. Barely here. Point. Lower audience, higher critics. Hmm. All right. Melody time. One more time. There it is. There it is. Okay. We can stop guessing it now. Look at that critic score. What is. And then, like I suspected, low audience score. Similar to Chicken Little on the audience, but then so high on the critics. Same with Saludos Amigos. Yeah, these wartime era movies, lucky that the critics of the time didn't know what taste was. No, uh, but seriously, these wartime era movies got way too high critic scores. Uh, well, I will say there is some artistic flair with the wartime era movies. Uh, but not my cup of tea, most of them. All right, now we're in what the heck is next. Let's see. We're getting yeah, Black Cauldron. I'm trying to think of some relatively blind Disney movies. There's like Black Cauldron didn't do well. I was expecting Oliver and Company to be more, at least higher. Atlantis also. So I'm trying to think if there's any movies that were like flops. Maybe Strange World. Strange World? Fun and fancy free. Yeah, should have. I mean, I would have figured Fun and Fancy Free would have been a bit higher than Melody Time. It is like more of a movie in my mind. Like it has two segments, I guess three with the puppet stuff, but it's like Mickey Mouse Beanstalk, Jack and the Beanstalk, then Bongo the bear. The difference of these scores is just crazy to me how some of them are so high on the audience and so low on the critics. Like look, Brother Bear, that might be the biggest deficit. At the end, when I look through all of these, I'm going to make this a column. I'm going to see what the biggest difference is between critic and audience scores. But anyway, now I still think maybe Sword in the Stone could be around here. Mm, but I think I'm still gonna guess Strange World. Pocahontas. That's I appreciate Pocahontas being this low. Not a fan of Pocahontas. And lower critic scores. One of the lower on the lower end over here. Lower than wait. I thought that was lower than Wish. No. Uh, lower than Make My Music. And a decent audience score. Higher than most of these. Was it just lower than Atlantis and Brother Bear? Hmm. Wish? Oh, okay. Man, Wish has a pretty high audience score, like comparatively, from what I would have guessed. Hmm. All right. Gotta guess Strange World one last time. There it is. All right. See, the goal is to say I'm gonna guess it one last time, and then it will happen. Uh, yeah, the critics score high. I will say, Strange World, not a bad film, just forgettable. You know, I mean, I don't think I'd say these two I would consider bad. Wish I'd probably consider bad. Dinosaur I'd say is bad. You could say Black Cauldron's bad. I feel like it has something going for it. Like these four, I feel like have not much going for it. Black Cauldron, I feel like you can point out some positives. All right, now we're in the section of this where I'm like I have no clue. This is where I would have started guessing stuff like Atlantis and Oliver and Company. There's I think aside from Ichabod and Mr. Toad, I think there's one more. Make Mine Music, Melody to Time, Fun and Fancy Free. Oh, Three Caballeros. That's gonna be my guess is Three Caballeros. Moana 2. Fair. Fair. Low critics. Bit higher on the audience. I should say, like, compared to these, yeah. And we're getting some decent jumps here. Do also want to see what the biggest jump in the average is between films. Alright, Moana 2. What could possibly be? Maybe Frozen 2? Frozen 2. Although I do think people do like Frozen 2, but I am gonna guess Saludos Amigos again. Sword in the Stone, I was thinking it too. I was thinking it would be around here. Sword in the Stone. This is a big jump here. Yeah, I think that's could be the biggest jump. The jump here is big, but since then, that's a pretty decent jump and a nice jump with the scores. Uh, so in the Stone, so far highest rated on the audience, just barely beating out Brother Bear. So far? What's the best rated film in critics? It looks like it is Melody Time. Oh, Jesus. All right, let's move on. Okay, so it's been working so far. I'm gonna guess Three Caballeros for the last time. Meet the Robinsons. How well received is Three Caballeros? Meet the Robinsons. Yeah, it makes sense that it's here. Now it is the highest audience and pretty decent on the critics. Yeah, just barely have the same here, just barely edging it out there. All right. Well, it didn't work, so we'll just say Three Caballeros again. Robin Hood. And again, I have to call into question how well received Three Caballeros is. I mean, it's okay. Three Caballeros, aside from Ichabod and Mr. Toad, definitely the best out of the wartime era movies. Robin Hood, I would say, is better than probably both those films. I do like Robin Hood. Maybe I'm a bit biased. 69 on the average. Oh, God. Oh, now it's definitely the highest audience. Yeah, that makes sense. Bit lower, getting dragged down a bit by the critics. That's fair. I don't know, were critics like aware that they were reusing old animation around this time? Figured it out through like videos stating and showing the difference, or the similarities, I should say. Don't know if you could naked eyeball see that, unless you like watched them back to back or like studied the animation. Anyway, see, now I want to say it's Frozen 2 coming up, and I'm going to switch off of Three Caballeros, and it's going to be Three Caballeros. So I'm just got to stick with Three Caballeros. Aristocats. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. See, These films are definitely ones I would have guessed had I one, remembered them, or two, not been on my three caballeros horse. Oh, same average here. Robin Hood is better than Aristocats. Come on. Come on. All right, three caballeros. Ralph breaks the internet. Okay, good to see Ralph breaks the internet is low and not up there. Was it? It's 45th place. Yeah, bottom 20 here. That's nice to see. Did crack the 70s though. High critic. That's the highest critic so far. And eh, decent on the audience is what is this? Over and Company. Hmm. All right, one more time. Gotta guess three caballeros. Treasure Planet. Uh, barely better than Ralph Breaks the Internet. Hmm. I don't know about that. Oh, look at almost. Okay, not quite. But it is a flop of Ralph Breaks the Internet. Audience rates it higher than the critics. Different than Wreck-It Ralph 2. I'm really because I know I'm going to switch off with three caballeros and it's going to be it. If it's not three caballeros, it's going to be Frozen 2. Rescue is Down Under. Jesus, I am just off on these guesses. Point 0.2 increases. It's interesting. And Rescuers Down Under being lower than the Rescuers is interesting to me. Would have figured the audience would have pulled Down Under higher than the original. Yeah, still Ralph Breaks the Internet highest critic. Treasure Planet? Is Treasure Planet? No, it's still Robin Hood. Alright, I'm going to switch off of Three Caballeros and say Frozen 2. Fantasia 2000. Was expecting it to be a bit higher. I thought it would maybe crack the top 20 barely. Maybe I'm underestimating how many great Disney films there are. But I thought it would have been at least top of the middle section, like top of the meh movies or the all right movies. Bit of a jump, but not insane. It's only zero point 0.8 now that I'm looking at it. Okay. All right, Frozen 2. There's the three caballeros. Two, I mean, at least it wasn't the exact one I was, I changed it on. There it is. We can lay it to rest. Don't have to guess it anymore. Yeah, oh, Jesus, with the critic score? What is this? What is this? No. Like it's a fine film, all right, but it's not 85. It's the same as Fantasia 2000. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Frozen 2. Rescuers. I should have guessed. Should have guessed it wasn't going to be too far from Rescuers Down Under. Basically similar. They could have, if they wanted to, they could have kept going. I don't know how much money these two movies made. Probably not an exorbitant amount, seeing how Rescuers Down Under is basically the redheaded stepchild of the Disney Renaissance. Again, okay, let me think. Let me think if there's any other films I would put in this zone of films. Maybe Ichabod and Mr. Toad is out there. There's Bolt, but I think Bolt's gonna be higher than this section. See, all the princess films are going to be highly rated. Yeah, I gotta stick with my guess on Frozen 2. There it is. All right, good. I almost took it off that guess. Um, hmm. Now we're getting into. Jeez, what is it? Three Caballero? Yeah, 85. What is this? Frozen 2. I don't know. Why do I feel like Frozen 2 is worse than this? It just feels like a mess. Maybe I gotta rewatch it, but I don't know. So we're in top 40 territory here. Rescuers is technically top 40. I mean, top 40 out of 64 isn't amazing, but 72 average out of these five, say, is pretty decent. Think a lot of movies would like to have an average of 72 out of these five websites, right? So now that the film that was stuck in my head is out, I have to actually guess. Okay. So I really like Great Mouse Detective, but I wouldn't be surprised if it shows up relatively soon. Maybe the second Winnie the Pooh, the 2011 Winnie the Pooh, is also Princess and the Frog. That'll probably be the lowest rated of the Disney princess movies. I mean, I guess, yeah. Um, I'm gonna say Bolt. Oh, gee, that was a good guess. 72. Oh, it's the same as Frozen. I'm glad they showed up in the way that they did, because if I guessed Frozen 2 and I was Bolt, would have been interesting. Very high critic score on Bolt. Just the audience didn't like it as much. All right, now we got Bolt out the way. Gonna guess Princess and the Frog. Fox and the Hound. Would have thought it would be higher with the audience. Thought the audience would drag it up a bit. And I feel like we're getting into films. I mean, you could argue like Brother Bear. Like, what was Brother Bear's audience? Only a 70, but still relatively. Yeah, trying not to go forward too much. Relatively similar to all of these. I mean, maybe even on the higher end, Brother Bear. Did I? We were on Bolt. Yeah, Fox and the Hound. Okay, and Fox and the Hound pretty high, and not too bad on the critic. I thought it was lower than a 70. All right, at Fox and the Hound. Um, Lady and the Tramp. I remember from the tournament was pretty high with its scores. I'm gonna go with Princess and the Frog. There's Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I forgot. I forgot it wasn't there. Not bad for Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Like, Three Caballeros is higher than it should be in my mind, but it's like definitely the highest of the wartime era. Kind of low on the audience, but really high on the critics. I would, if I could control these, I'd lower this a bit, raise this a bit. Hmm, can't get Princess and the Frog out of my mind, but I am going to guess something else just to guess something else. Now we're all I'm thinking of are like the top tier films. So I'm trying to think of any middle of the road films I'm missing. Peter Pan, I remember, was not as highly regarded in the scores as I thought it was going to be, so I'm going to guess Peter Pan. Hunchback. That's surprising. That's pretty surprising it's so low. I mean, decent scores. Like most of these have like a at least 60 or lower in one, so having both of these be 70s. Like it's like 80, 60, you know? There's a big difference. This being relatively the same. Yeah, 73. Hmm. Yeah, pretty surprised it's not a bit higher. But I do agree it's on the weaker end in terms of the Renaissance. Trying to think. Trying to think. And I just have to. Uh, I'm going back to Princess and the Frog on this. Great Mouse Detective. Thought it was gonna be just a skosh higher. Like I was getting ready. If it wasn't gonna show up in like 3 or 4, then I would have started guessing Great Mouse Detective. Yeah, this scoring makes sense to me. I am surprised it's higher than Hunchback, but as you can see, audience very much in line with me. Great Mouse Detective, very much enjoy that film. I haven't been really been looking at these. What the Frozen 2 with the 92 on Rotten Tomato audience. Hmm. All right. Gotta go. Oh, there's Princess and the Frog, and wasn't there another one? What was the other one I was waffling with? There's Winnie the Pooh 2011, which probably isn't amazing scores. Princess and the Frog. I'm trying to, what's another? I feel like Little Mermaid will be the next Renaissance film, but that's probably going to be a bit higher. So I'm just going to guess Princess and the Frog again. There's Peter Pan. That's the one I was thinking before. If I would have remembered it, maybe I would have guessed it. Same audience as Great Mouse Detective, just a bit higher on the critics. Yeah, makes sense. Nearly this last one is going to be halfway point, I believe. Oh, wait. No, we got a few more. I was thinking +1, but it's -1. Uh, so I'm trying not to just guess Princess and the Frog every time. I'm gonna guess something else. I just can't imagine another film that would be in this range. I feel like we're getting all of these, the movies in this good but not great section out of the way. I remember now, if I hadn't remembered that the scores were very high, I would have started guessing like Big Hero 6. But I remember Big Hero 6 had some high scores. Oh, you know what? Hercules might be the next Disney Renaissance film instead of Little Mermaid, because I had some shockingly middle of the road scores. I don't want to guess it before Princess and the Frog, though. I'm gonna guess Princess and the Frog. Alice in Wonderland. Interesting. All right, we're getting films that I would have suspected to be a lot higher. Metacritic kind of dropping the ball on that one. Yeah, what the yeah, Peter Pan. Yeah, Alice in Wonderland's better than Peter Pan, I would say. And Great Mouse Detective is a personal pick. Yeah, I'd like I like Alice in Wonderland over a lot of these films, most of them. So it's surprising Metacritic. Kind of a ball drop with Metacritic on that one. Maybe in a similar line to Alice, maybe Lady in the Tramp. Like I know Lady in the Tramp went pretty far in the tournament, so I'm maybe holding off on that for a few more. Are there any other just ones I'm forgetting? Because the only ones I can think of are top tier movies, maybe like A tier. Like, all right, one more time. Princess and the Frog. Hercules. There it is. Yeah, was solid scores around. Nothing in the 60s. IMDb with the lowest on the 73, but a 73, or it would be a 7.3. 7.3 is a good film, I'd say. What would it be on Letterboxd? A 3.8? Yeah, I mean, nearly a 4. So all of these films, like, I'd say, I mean, all the films above this are like really good films if you take the score into question. I mean, these films you could say are great films as well. You get 3 caballeros out of there. Rescuers, Frozen 2, Bolt. Bolt is like the cutoff here on what I'd say are like fine films, and now we're getting into the good films. Kind of weird that Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad is here. Like I'd put it maybe top. I'd put it with Bolt, swap Fox and the Hound, and this. Anyway, continuing on. Princess and the Frog. I would have thought it would be lower than Hercules at least. Let's see here. Like 64. I don't even know what I'm talking about. All right, let's continue on. Um, Princess and the Frog. Oh, there it is. All right. All right, we're good. We can stop guessing it. Just barely over Hercules. I would have thought Hercules would have been a lot higher than Princess and the Frog. Like I'm a fan of Princess and the Frog. I just figured it'd be a bit lower with some of these scores. What's funny is if this was a matchup in the tournament, Hercules would have won. Even let's say I didn't do my score and just each of these columns was a point, which is probably how I'm gonna run tournaments in the future. Uh, Hercules would have won this point, and this point. Very interesting. All right, now I can't think of any other movies I would put in this section other than the 2011 Winnie the Pooh. So that's my guess. Jungle Book. Low. We're in the top 30 now. Low Metacritic. Man, Metacritic kind of dragging Jungle Book down a bit. Probably would have been a bit higher. Like if they would have gave it, let's say a 76, the IMDb type score here, it would have been pretty high. Is Princess and the Frog the new critic? No, still 3 caballeros. It's just the audience knows what's up. Trying not to get hooked on Winnie the Pooh 2011. I'm just going to rack my brain here. We are in the zone of good films. So maybe Lady and the Tramp now. Lady and the Tramp is my guess. Dang. Again, switching the guess right when it comes up. 77.4. An 82, pretty high on the critics. That's nice. I mean, it is a good film. It is just now we're at the top of what I consider this zone of like good but not great films. This film is what I consider the top of that. So I'm curious what comes next. My guess is Little Mermaid. Like, it might be a bit early, but I do think it's out of the out of the Disney Renaissance films we haven't touched on. I do think Little Mermaid is the weakest. It's still a strong film though. Yeah, that's my guess. Tarzan. Okay. All right. Um, Interesting that it wasn't Little Mermaid. Maybe it's next. I can also see Lady and the Tramp coming up. Tarzan, I would have figured would have been in the top 20. Like low in the top 20s, but in the top 20s nonetheless. Was like these are some great scores. Surprised the audience scores aren't higher considering how much I see this film talked about amongst fans, at least in my circle, like family, friends, various YouTubers and such. Seems like this film is well regarded with the fans. Higher on the critic score than I was thinking. But yeah, great scores for Tarzan. All right, Little Mermaid or Lady and the Tramp. Maybe Cinderella? Although Cinderella, those old films have just outrageous critic scores. I do think Cinderella is probably going to be the lowest of the princess movies going forward. I'm going to guess Cinderella. Emperor's New Groove, another one I thought was going to be in the top 20s. Like, again, with Tarzan, like, this makes sense. Bam, bam. I just thought it would be like 1918 instead of, what is it, 27, 26. So this next one marks the top 25. And I'm gonna say Lady and the Tramp. But before we move on, actually, kind of funny, Emperor's New Groove lower than Tarzan here, just higher here. Like the Rotten Tomato audience. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna guess Lady and the Tramp. Frozen. Hmm. All right. So Frozen marks the top 25, barely higher than Emperor's New Groove. Another one. I would have figured these two would gonna be higher than Frozen. It's kind of funny to me how different these two are sometimes. All right. We're getting to the point where Lady and the Tramp, Cinderella. Yeah, those are the films I'm thinking. Lady and the Tramp is my guess. Wreck-It Ralph, another one. Man, we're getting rid of some heavy hitters here. Uh, Tied with Frozen. Say Wreck-It Ralph. I personally like Wreck-It Ralph more than Frozen. Wreck-It Ralph is up there with Tangled for 3D Disney films. Moana as well, but it's like Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph, Moana, and Frozen. Encanto's good. Encanto might be coming up here now that I think about it. I'm gonna guess Encanto. Lilo and Stitch. These is wild. These are films I thought were sure gonna be in the top 20. Lilo and Stitch especially. I was even thinking it might etch itself into the top 10. Kind of surprised the audience scores are so Not low. I just figured they'd be like, I guess it's just I mean, a 7.4 is still like a great film. Maybe like good, but crazy. All right, continuing on. I'm guessing Lady and the Tramp. There it is. Just barely above Lilo and Stitch. It, see, Lady and the Tramp, I think it got this high because it has the benefits of being nostalgic and old critic scores weighting it high. What's funny is it took Lady and the Tramp to finally beat Three Caballeros for highest critic average so far. What the heck is going on? I didn't see what was next. Yeah, that's crazy to me how it took Lady and the Tramp to get a higher critic score than Three Caballeros. Like, what did none of these films had a higher critic score than Three Caballeros? Tarzan? Barely. So, according to these critics, Tarzan is worse film than Three Caballeros. Hard disagree. Like, obviously, it's not the same critics rating these movies, so, but still, it's the principle of things. Okay, we're gonna go with Lady and the Tramp. No, Lady and the Tramp. We're gonna go with Little Mermaid. Bambi. Okay. I thought it would have been higher than Dumbo. I would guess Dumbo before Bambi. Yeah, gonna get very high on the critics and just slightly lower on the audience than these films. Yeah, it's gonna be like that with these older films. Gonna have outstanding critic scores and a bit lower on the audience. Yeah, look at this critic average. That's gonna be a higher critic average. And a slightly lower. Man, that's actually pretty low. You have to go all the way back to Hunchback to get as low as the audience. Still, like, relatively good audience scores. Just compared to these, it's like, hmm, the critics is really pulling this one up. Since I brought it up, I'm gonna guess Dumbo. Sleeping Beauty. Surprised it's not Cinderella. Slightly lower on the critics, but slightly higher on the audience. Makes sense. Sleeping Beauty then marks the top 20. So these are going to be the top 20 films according to the average of these five reviewer websites. Going to guess Dumbo again. Raya in The Last Dragon. Wow. Oh my goodness. What a I am surprised this didn't show up like here. That is insane to me. I like right. I feel like is one of those forgotten Disney films. It's just I guess critics liked it. Audiences, well, Jesus, the Rotten Tomatoes really pulled for this film. Like this is the type of scores I thought I would get. Rotten Tomatoes really pulled this film above its weight class. Like above these films, I don't think so. Well, congrats to Raya. Number 19. Up next, just gotta guess Dumbo. Alright, alright, there we go. Dumbo. Same score as Raya. So that's nice. Yeah, oh, insane critic scores on Dumbo. More than Bambi? I feel like Bambi's better than Dumbo. Or am I crazy? Audience agree with me that Bambi's better than Dumbo, but only by a skosh. I'm gonna go with Cinderella next and Canto. All right. Mm. Yeah. See, much higher. on the audience than Dumbo and Bambi and all that. Yeah, these older films got the critics in their pocket. Gonna get Cinderella one more time. Okay, all right. Ooh. I don't know why I'm like relieved. Cinderella, yeah, again with the critics, but kind of backs it up with the audience. Kind of low actually on these two. Thinking about it, but as figures like this older film's gonna have higher critic scores, but the princess film's gonna be high across the board. I'm curious if there's going to be a drop for Snow White. Snow White's gonna have insane scores here. Same with Pinocchio, but I feel like there might be a drop here that will leave them maybe out of the top 10. Also, the Winnie the Pooh does not have a rating for Metacritic, so I think it's just going to be an average of the four, which I think is fair. Hopefully, it's not number one. Otherwise, we might have an issue. I mean, it is a great film, one of my favorites. I just don't think people would agree it's number one. Now I gotta start thinking what's like low top tier Disney. I'm gonna guess Little Mermaid again. Tangled. Yeah, I figured Tangled was coming up. Man, I really thought Tangled could have made it into the top 10. I'm trying to think what's like top 10 material. All right, I'm gonna quickly like run down what I think is gonna be in the top 10. Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, they're gonna be top two. I don't know which order, but those are gonna be top two. Aladdin's gonna be up there. Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I think Snow White and or Pinocchio will sneak into the top 10. I'd probably say Snow White more than Pinocchio. Thought Tangled could have snuck in top 10. Mulan will be in top 10. Is that it? Moana could make it into the top 10. That will be interesting. We'll see. All right. Well, Tangled barely a jump in the critics, but then a jump in the audience. My next guess, maybe Moana. I'm gonna guess Moana. 101 Dalmatians. Oh, I totally forgot. I would have thought it would have been more here, but you're good on 101 Dalmatians. Same score as Tangled. I think Tangled deserves to be. They've flipped these, 101 Dalmatians. Great on the critic score. And that's certainly dragging it up from A74, but that's the same with all of these. It's fun to see this correlation of older films with just gigantic critic scores and like decent to good audience scores. And then these films like Tangled and Encanto, which have pretty good critic scores and then pretty good audience scores. Like Tangled, this both their scores are closest to their average. Kind of similar with Encanto, but Tangled is really like right on the ball there. Now I gotta rack my brain. Is there anything I missed? You know what? I forgot Big Hero 6. That's my guess. Coming up, Big Hero 6. Mulan. You gonna tell me Big Hero 6 is better than Mulan? Alright, well, Mulan, I thought would have cracked the top 10 for sure. Bit lower on the critic. This again, Metacritic just dragging Mulan down. I mean, a 72 is good, but Mulan deserves a bit better than 72. There's a bit of a jump here. 8 points. I mean, that's the biggest jump we've had in a while, in a long while. So, from here, so that's a bit of a jump there. All right. I feel like it's gotta be, uh, it's gotta be Big Hero 6, right? Okay. All right. Because if Big Hero 6 would have made it into the top 10, it's a fine film, but I said I think I might have to rewatch this. I don't really want to, though. It's not a film for me, I feel like Moana's gotta be coming up here soon. I'm gonna guess Moana. Oh, Zootopia 2, and I forgot about Zootopia. But I feel like Zootopia will have some pretty high scores. Zootopia might be in the top 10. Yeah, oh, it is going to be in the top 10. This is number 11. So, yeah. No. Again, Metacritic. All right, these. Okay. One above, one below. Oh, the 96. Ooh. Yeah. The other scores other than Rotten Tomatoes kind of lower than say Mulan, but it's this 96. Ooh. Also, this is the newest film. This is probably the film I should have checked and updated the scores because this was the newest one. So, if there is a movie that changed the most, it's probably this one. Actually, I took a second to look at these scores. There was like slight change in the letterbox score, and I think that was it. All right, so entering top 10, my thinking is either going to be Zootopia or Moana. I'm trying to think. Little Mermaid is there as well. And I think I might guess Little Mermaid. Moana. Ooh. Yeah, so here we are, top 10, Moana. 1 point jump. And, ooh, interesting. Critics prefer Moana, but the audience slightly prefers Zootopia 2. And Zootopia 2 is definitely gonna level out more, I feel. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's definitely not as good as Zootopia 1 in my mind. It is a fine film, a good film, I would say. I think it is going to go down as the years go on. So next up, gotta make a decision on Zootopia or Little Mermaid. I'm gonna go Little Mermaid. Snow White. All right, number 9, Snow White. Same score as Moana, so you could flip these if you wanted. Yeah, it's that massive critic score, and then just even a 68 on Letterboxd. I mean, 3.4, which is pretty low considering. And I feel like Pinocchio is gonna have similar results, and that's probably going to be my next guess is Pinocchio. Yeah, I figured just slightly more than Snow White, and it's mainly due to its few points more on the critic scores. This is insane, by the way. 199? Like, this is a good film. I'd even maybe even venture to say a great film. Like, this is a good film, but these two scores not conducive to the movies, I feel. The audience has it more correct. I would argue that Snow White is better than Pinocchio. I'm surprised these two scores aren't flopped, if I'm being honest. But anyway, all right, here we are. Number eight, Pinocchio. We're in the top seven. I think this has to be Little Mermaid. I'm struggling to think it would. All right, let's. What are the options left? Yeah, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Aladdin, uh, Moana, no, Zootopia, Little Mermaid, and I'm missing one. Which one am I missing? Yeah, I'm blanking on what the last one is. Hopefully it's not this next one, or maybe it is, so I can get out of the way. Out of those films, I feel like Zootopia is it's either Zootopia or Little Mermaid. I'm going Zootopia. Ah, it was Little Mermaid. Barely here. Yeah, I mean, great scores all around. Little Mermaid, I don't think is as strong as this. It is strong, and I'm not surprised it's here in the top 10. Similar to Zootopia, I feel like Zootopia is not quite as strong as this. Should be a bit more down here, but I am gonna guess Zootopia. There it is. Okay. Oh, a jump. 8 points again. Or I guess point 0.8. 8 tenths. Uh, Slightly lesser here, slightly more here. I can see that. All right. So this is six. So we're in top five coming up. Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and there's one I'm forgetting. What am I forgetting? Lady and the Tramp. Or no, it was down there. I guess we're gonna find out. I'm gonna guess this next one is this one I'm forgetting. No, it's Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Would be interesting to see how it would go if Metacritic had scored it. Like, it would have been interesting. Is it just like not enough critics rated it? Like, not enough critics rated it? Is that why? I did look at the Metacritic like user reviews, and it's an 8, which would have brought it down a bit, maybe even lower than Zootopia. But interesting. Yeah, it's gonna have the highest critic average though. I mean, to be fair, like what was it, Pinocchio? Dumbo? No, where's Pinocchio at? 99.5. That is an insane critic average. And that's like should be like taking everything into account. That will probably be the highest critic average. Like unless, you know, maybe there's so few Metacritic scores, maybe, one more person does 100. They've all rated it 100 and whatever. You know what I'm saying. All right. Okay. This film is either going to be Aladdin or this film I'm forgetting. Oh, it's Fantasia. Fantasia is the film. That makes sense. I think it's next. I would like to see Aladdin next and then Fantasia in the top three. Wait, what am I? So, yeah. So, yeah. I would like to see Aladdin next and then Fantasia make it into the top three. But I do think Aladdin is going to have some very strong scores, especially in the audience. So I do think Fantasia is next. Yeah. And here we go. This is all right. So we're getting seeing a big jump here. Oh, and yeah, the audience does drag it down a bit, but like comparative to like Zootopia and something, it's still insane critic scores. And I feel like this is a movie where the critic scores make sense. Like an older film where the critic scores make sense because this is some art right here. And I'm glad it made it as high as it did. So I'm trying to see, trying to convince myself it has to be Aladdin next, right? I think it's like Aladdin and Beauty or Lion King and Beauty and the Beast are the top two. I don't know which one's going to be top, but those are the top two in my mind. So I feel like Aladdin has to be next. Yeah. Okay. All right. And seeing another jump here, I guess 6 points is not as much as was it like a full point 1.3 instead of just point 6. Yeah, first film with a score in the 90s and the 80s. Like there's 100 with the 70s. There's a 280s here, a 90 in the 70s. What's the highest? I'm curious. I'm gonna look. What's the highest movie with a 60s, a rating in the 60s, average rating in the 60s? Oh, that's close. Dumbo's close, but it is. Oh, we gotta go pretty far here. Dang. Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Nice film with an average in the 60s. That is fair. And next would be Bolt. Hmm. All right. Time for decisions. Which one's gonna be top? It's either gonna be Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. My personal favorite is Lion King, and I would like it. I'd like to see it. I would like to see it up top. But I'm going to guess number two will be Lion King. Number one's going to be Beauty and the Beast. I feel it. That's how I feel. So I'm going to guess Lion King. So even if I'm wrong, I'm still going to be happy that it's number one. All right, let's find out. Lion King, number two. With a 2 point jump here. Yeah, it makes sense. In my brain, like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King are just a step above everything else. Maybe I'd put Fantasia in there, but it is so different. Like Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Maybe I'm biased because those are my top, well, two of my top three favorites, but it's like I feel like those two are just a step above all these films. Maybe I'm just crazy. Was thinking Lion King or Beauty and the Beast could get a double 90s, two things in the 90s, but I don't think that's going to be possible. All right, so yeah, number one is Beauty and the Beast. Oh, hey, a tie. They're tied. So you know what? Lion King, technically, ob- in this objective sense, the best Disney film, tied with Beauty and the Beast. I would like, I would say it makes sense. Beauty and the Beast would be higher. Like the critic scores are higher, and I feel like they'd probably be similar. Kind of surprised Beauty and the Beast has a 78. What is that? A 3.9? Not quite a 4? That's kind of crazy. Like Lion King's scores are really good, and it's like this 88 is that's a great movie in 88, but it's like, come on, that's Lion King. Even 92 feels pretty low, but again, I'm biased. But yeah, that's looking at this somewhat objective ranking of the Disney films. It's been fun. I like looking at it like this. I mean, I could have done this. I like doing the tournaments, so that's why I didn't do this right away. But I guess it didn't really affect the tournaments too much. Brother Bear, as expected, has the biggest difference. Uh, Pinocchio, Pinocchio, Dumbo, the one with the least is Zootopia, but both with an 82. Hmm. Black Cauldron, Alice, the Hero 6. Interesting. What was up here now? Oh, baby, don't give Dumbo 3 Caballeros, yes. Snow White makes sense. Winnie the Pooh. Huh? Well, I guess the 100. The 100 kind of does that. Saludos amigos. Evidently. Robin Hood. Yeah, this one's a low to high thing. Same with Brother Bear. Hmm. Oh yeah, that's been an interesting look at the scores. Hopefully you enjoyed. I do have another tournament waiting in the wings, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, farewell, fellow cinephiles.